not Japanese, he was not white, he was not African. He was not an Arab. He was an Israelite. Moses was an Israelite. So the old and new covenant belongs to them. Read.
And the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises.
So when it comes to service, only the Israelites should be teaching this book. How can Gentiles be the authority on the Most High's book? On the Israelites' book? The example I give, like if I was to go to China right now and tell everybody that Buddha was me, was black people, to start teaching that all Asians are us, that would be ridiculous. To start teaching them about their history. How can I be the authority over Asian history? So how can the other nations, which are Gentiles, be the authority over Israelite history? Read.
Verse 5. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came.
And whose concerning the flesh Christ came. Why they don't teach that about Paul? That Christ himself was showing, that Paul was showing through Christ that his blood was sacrificed for the children of Israel so they could one day be a people to him again. That's not being taught in the churches. That's not being taught. So they don't understand Paul's writings. See?
Whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh Christ came.
And as whom concerning the flesh Christ came. Galatians 4 and 5. 5 and 4. Going back to Galatians, Paul's writings. Do the Gentiles have a place? Yes, they have a place. But they have a different place than the Israelites. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Read it. Let me get it here. Galatians 4 and 5. Read that. Read.
Galatians chapter 4 verse 5. To redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because ye are sons.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Read. Galatians chapter 4 verse 4. But when the fullness of the time was come, the Most High sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law.
Made under the law, read.
Verse 5. To redeem them that were under the law.
To redeem who?
To redeem them that were under the law.
Redeem means to purchase them that were under the law. So through Christ's blood, he purchased the children of Israel. To redeem them which were under the law. So how can in one sentence or in one phrase they'll teach the Israelites are done away with and try to use Paul's writings, and then go here to Paul's writings, and Paul makes it clear, 100% clear, that Christ's blood was shed to redeem the people that were under the law of the Old Testament. Why? Why would they bring this up? Because the Christian church is against God's people. The Christian church that is set up is against Christ himself and Christ's people. One other example. We got a few minutes here, about a half hour. They try to use certain writings to say that Paul says you can eat anything you want. Incorrect. Incorrect. Here's my question to everyone. What's the reason for a dietary law? if the Most High wants you to eat anything you want? What's the reason for a dietary law? Paul was a Pharisee. A Pharisee is teachers of the Old Testament, or teachers or authorities on the law. So now Paul, who's an authority on the law, his parents were Pharisees. Now he's going to teach, okay, you know, Christ came, so let me get some shrimp. Let me get some crabs and lobster. We're not no longer under that. So I can eat anything I want. Paul would never teach that. He was a Pharisee. Someone said, Jesus said you can eat anything. All right. If someone can show me that scripture where Jesus said you can eat anything, we will pack up. We will pack up if you can show me a scripture that says Christ said you can eat anything you want. One scripture. Go to Mark the 6th chapter. Now, if this don't say that, we're going to have some issues, because we're going to realize that this doctrine that you're saying must come directly from Satan. We're going to give it one shot. Now, we said we're going to hold questions, but this person just busted in, so they didn't know that we told them to hold questions. But it's along the lines of what we're teaching, so I don't mind. It's not getting us off the beaten path there. So he said, go to Mark the 6th chapter, and this will tell us that Christ says we can eat anything you want. Read. We're going to start at the... What verse? I'm at Mark the 6th chapter, and this is talking about... okay, what verse? Because this is talking about Christ being rejected from his homeland, from the people that were around him. No, I know which one you want. Go to Matthew 11th chapter. This is the one you want. I'm going to help you. Hold on. Or 15. Yeah, this is the one you want here. With Matthew the 15. Start at, this is the one they want. Let me go to the exact one. Matthew 15 and 11. Maybe this is the scripture you're talking about, right? Let's read it.
St. Matthew, chapter 15, verse 11. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth defileth the man.
Okay, where did it say that we can eat anything we want? Okay, you found it? Matthew 15 and 2. No, Mark 7. Let's get Mark 7. That's the one he wants. Where Christ said we can eat anything we want. Mark 7. Let's read it. Now, mind you, now I'm going to set this up because this is what Christians do. They'll take you to a scripture, and the scripture won't say what they said. But instead of acknowledging that, they'll go somewhere else. We're going to this scripture because someone said that Christ said with his own mouth that you can eat anything you want. Let's go to Mark 7. Read. Start the first verse.
Mark, chapter 7, verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands.
So they was eating bread with dirty hands. Now mind you, there's no pork at this table. want to go to the 15th verse, but we need to set it up because you want to go straight to the 15th verse and not deal with the fact that there was nothing